Students, as we were doing the topic, the impact of the industrial revolutions. The industrial revolutions, it brought very significant economic, social, political, cultural, and intellectual changes. We read about the impact of the industrial revolution in the economic sphere. So, the enterprising middle class capitalist who owned and operated the factories, foundries, and mine, they profited enormously by the revolution. It was conscious for its power and wanted to use it for political end. So you can see there was the emergence of a middle class. Here the middle class, the capitalists, the owners, okay, owners of the factories who operated the factories, foundries and mine, and they profited enormously, okay, by the revolution. So they wanted to use the political power. So in England, the Parliamentary Act reform of 1832, which redistributed the seats in parliament to grant representation to unrepresented towns in the new industrial districts. Okay, so they gave the right to the new industrial district to give uh, the right of voting to a large group of this moderately well to do. So this middle class, which now became powerful, successfully put down the agitations of the Chartist, which was an effort of the lower class to secure representation in the parliament. In France, the position of the middle class was strengthened by the revolution of 1830. The government established after the revolution was under the effective control of this middle class. Okay, so you can see the other important result of the industrial revolutions was that the military power of a state, they are now dependent on the extent of the industrial progress made by it. So in the later half of the 15th century, you can see England, Germany and France emerged as a strong military power as compared to Russia because the latter had relatively made less progress in the field of industry. So it was the most powerful factors which contributed to the dominance of England, France, Germany over Europe in the beginning of the 20th century. In the later half of the 19th century, even Japan accepted the Industrial Revolution and became a dominant power and challenged Russia. So, intellectual and cultural effects, you can see the rise of new idea, growth of socialism, rise of engineering research, change in the habits and thoughts of life. So, another, if we talk of the vital effect of the industrial revolutions, was the development of political and economic thought. So, great socials and economic changes made by the industrial revolution help in the development of science of economy or political economy. It brought in a philosophy of individualism. Okay, if we talk about this, rise of need brought the philosophy of individualism, which emphasized the moral worth of the individual. So, revolutionary inventions, and when we talk about the protection, invention as well as the protection, on the large scale, it forced the industrialist to claim the right to be left alone to develop to their full. Okay, and the doctrine of laissez-faire, as you can see, the policy which is based on the idea that the government and the law should not interfere with business finance. It received a great impetus from the work of Adam Smith, Ricardo Mill, Malthus, and Herbert Spencer. Now you can see growth of socialism, the extension of this 18th century doctrine of laissez-faire by the government in the first half of the 19th century, and the operation of the principle of free competition in the economic sphere. Free competition without a lot of government control, and if we talk about the price, it was determined by the supply and demands. Okay, it adversely the laissez-faire and free competition, it adversely affected the working classes. It led to the ruthless inhuman economic exploitation by the capitalist, the misery of the exploited class. Okay, it made fine and sensitive souls to raise their voice of protest against the system and to propose many schemes of reforms. So utopian socialism was thus revived. You can see Karl Marx, under the influence of his teaching, the new proletariat class became more and more politically conscious. So Marxism socialism, which was the most disrupting of all the 19th century political ideas, was the direct outcome of the Industrial Revolution. Then comes the rise of the engineering research. You can see the Industrial Revolution stimulated scientific investigation and research. As technological skill became more and more complex, experts were required to manage and improve them, which gave rise to the, you can see, professions of engineer. So science began to put more and more to service technology. Gradually, large scale industrial research labs began to be established. So here you can see the changes in the habit and the thought of life. So the concentration of population in large city due to the industrial evolution, it brought changes that never existed before in the habits of the thought and life of the people. So now we talk about the Protestant movements. So it also called a demonstration is a public expressions of objection, disapproval, or dissent toward an idea in action, typically a political one. So, Protestants can take many different forms, individual statement to mass demonstrations, where protests are part of systematic and peaceful and non-violent campaign to achieve a particular objective. It can assume any form of open civil disobedience. So, industrialization, and when we talk about agricultural revolution, brought with them a range of social issues that led to be protest. So the early decade of industrialization, it coincided with the spread of new political ideas which came from the French Revolution. These are the new political idea, the liberty, the equality, and the fraternity. So at the time of the French Revolution, liberty, equality, fraternity was one of the many mottos in use. Liberty, when we talk about liberty, it consists of being able to do anything that does not harm others. Thus, the exercise of the natural rights of every man and woman has no bounds other than those guarantee other members of society the enjoyment of these the same rights. Equality, on the other hand, was defined by the declaration in the term of judicial equality and merit based entry to government. The law must be same for all, whether it protect or punishes. All the citizen being equal in its eye shall be equally eligible to all high office, public position, and employment according to their ability and without other distinction than that of their courage and talent. So the revolutionary slogan here, fraternity, okay, it been translated as brotherhood. Fraternity suggested that the nation's citizens were bound together in solidarity. Okay, solidarity. It combined nationalism with love and concern for one fellow citizen. So this French Revolution, it showed that collective mass action, okay, the action taken together by a group of people whose goal is to enhance their condition and achieve a common objective, it could dramatically change the political, economic, and social aspect of life. So worker in England, okay, they started protesting against the harsh working condition in factories. They also wanted the right to vote. So during the war with France, Okay, you can see during the war period, England had been at war with France after a long time. For a long time, the trade between England and France it was disrupted. Okay, and the factories were forced to stop production. Unemployment grew, and the prices of essential article of foods like bread and meat rose to height beyond the level of the average wages. So in 1795, okay, you can see the British Parliament it passed two Combination Act, okay, and these are the factors somewhere responsible for the growth of the Protestant movement. So if we talk about in 1795, the British Parliament passed two Combination Act which made it illegal to incite the people by speech and writing hatred or contempt of the king. So now it become illegal to express their view. Okay, so they also banned unauthorized public meeting of 50%. Despite these, you can see this act protest, uh, this continued against the old corruptions. The members of the parliament, landowners, manufacturers, and professionals were opposed to giving the right to vote to the working class. They supported the Corn Law, which banned the support of the cheaper food until the prices of corn in Britain had, you can see, risen to certain level. Then you can see food riots. Okay, so there was a large scale migration of land laborers to their town to find work in the factories. They expressed their angers and frustration in different form of protest. From 1790 onwards, there were food riots throughout the country. It was against the high prices of bread charged by the greedy traders. Such riots were frequently or were frequent in 1795. Okay, it was, if we talk about riots, it was frequent in 1795, the worst year of the war against France, but they continued until 1840. So now you can see the Enclosure Act. The Enclosure movement also created hardship for the small landholder. From 1770s, hundred of small farms, okay, they had been merged into the large farm as we have discussed earlier also. Large one of big landlords. The poor use, you can see, rural families deprived of their land holding. They sought work in the industries, but the introduction of machine in and in you can see the cloth industry had threw thousands of handloom weaver out of work and made them poor. So from 1790 the weaver began to demand a minimum legal wage which was refused by the parliament. The weaver they organized to strike in Lancashire. When the government forced them to disperse, they destroyed the power loom which they believed had deprived them of their livelihoods. So there were similar rights of workers in the wool knitting industry in Nottingham. These were also, um, you can see, a protest in Lancashire and Derbyshire. Rising of the farm labourer. In Yorkshire, you can see shearing frames were destroyed by the coppers who had been previously shearing the sheep by hand cut or clipping their hair by hand. So in 1830, the farm laborers rose in riots when new threshing machines were introduced which separated the grain from husk. The rioters destroyed these machines. Nine of the rioters, we can see they were hanged, and 450 were banished to Australia as convict. So now we talk about the Luddism movement. Sorry, Luddism. The popularity of the Luddism is a good indicator of how technology it influenced the society. The word Luddism has been used for centuries and has always reached its peaks in times when technological development caused disruptive changes which directly affect the lives of the people. So the word Luddism here refers to a popular movement that emerged in England in the early 19th century, led by the artisans who protested against the growing use of machine. Okay, so in the productive process, especially thrashers and loom, they considered that their use destroyed the employment and deteriorated the working conditions. So in particular, the term Luddites came from the name Ned Ludd, okay, a young English worker who broke two mechanical waivers in 1791, decades before the Luddites movement. So Ned Led was said to be young apprentice, okay, who worked for low pay in order to learn the skill, who took matter into his own hand and destroy the textile apparatus in 1779. The group of workers that followed his footsteps said that they were taking order from General Led and issued manifestos using his name. So, that being said, there is no evidence of his actual existence, with Ned Ludd as assuming a more mythical Robin Hood reputation. He would become the legendary character. Okay, legendary character other would use to create a namesake for their cause. So Ned Ludd followers, you can see the Luddites were using a name to shock the government into submission. So the Luddites were not, as has often been portrayed, against the concept of progress and industrialization as such, but instead the idea that mechanization as you can see would threaten their livelihood and the skill they had spent year acquiring the skill. So this mechanization, it would destroy, it would threaten their livelihood as well as their skill. So the group went about destroying weaving machine and other tool as a form of protest against what they believed to be deceitful method to avoid the labor practice of the day. So the replacement of the people's skilled craft with machine would gradually substitute their established role in the textile industry. So the textile workers and the weaver were actually skilled, well-trained middle class workers of their time after working for centuries, maintaining a good relationship with merchants who sold their product. The introduction of machinery not only take the place the need for the handcrafted garment but also initiated the use of low skilled and poorly paid laborer in large factories. So the transition would prove disastrous for the artisans of their craft who had spent years perfecting and sharpening their skill. Okay, you can see underpaid worker and they, you can see they were operating the machinery. So the foundation for the Luddites began in the late 1700, and you can see, but the first noticeable riots occurred in 1811 for those who had attempted to negotiate with the factory's owner and the government their pleas, but it had not been heard. Okay, the tactics used appeared quite radical. There was no union to fall back on or to support them. The masses of, you can see, this fraud against a known threat of their livelihood took the form of breaking the machine. So the intention here was to put the employer. So this what they did, they start breaking the machine, okay, or the riots, or you can see the resistance. It's shown through breaking the machine. So the invention, if we talk about the intention, it was to put employer or the owner under pressure in order to give their demands. However, the response they met with was swift and brutal. You can see the government, they enact a law, the Protection of Stocking Frame Act 1788, increased the penalty for destroying the factory equipment. So these were the few movements, okay. Uh, the very important here is the Peterfield movements, okay. So you can see up to 1819, the working population did not use legal method to express their angers. In August 1817, about 80,000 people they assembled peacefully at St. Peter's Field in Manchester to press their demand for the right to organize public meeting and for the freedom of the press. So the government ruthlessly suppressed the agitators. Okay, it became known as Peterloo massacres. The parliament denied them their demand by passing the six acts. So these acts, okay, it extended the restriction on political activities introduced by the Combination Act of 1795. But after the Peterloo massacres, the need to make the House of Commons more representatives was realized by the liberal political groups. So the government had to repeal the Combination Act in 1824 and 25. And you will see that these movements they led to the reform, and the government passed many acts, as we have read about the Factory Acts, the Mines, and the Collieries Act.